We are here to celebrate and view the amazing portfolio that Callista Dawson created in the MSIDT program here at Los Angeles Pacific University. I'm Dr. George Hanshaw, the Assistant Dean for the MSIDT program here, and I am super excited to introduce Callista and just see all the amazing work that she has done throughout the program. So Callista, take it away.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to thank everyone who's listening for joining in today. This is a very exciting milestone for me to be able to present all the work that I've created in this Master of Science in Instructional Design and Technology program. So I'm super happy to be able to talk you through my portfolio today. As George mentioned, I work here at LAPU. I am the Learning Experience Design Manager. I've been working in higher education for the last 12 years and specifically designing content and online courses since 2016. I started my career in animation and marketing. And so my real passion is for storytelling, which translated very well into the field of instructional design. And so engagement is really my ultimate goal in everything that I design. As George knows, I've often said that learning is beautiful. And so I love to design experiences that are beautiful for learners. I always look forward to making experiences fun, visually appealing, and memorable.
And you do that so well. So my quick question before we jump into your portfolio, since this is the Master of Science in Instructional Design and Technology here at LAPU, what was your biggest takeaway from the program? Because you had a lot of experience coming in and it's competency-based as well. So you were able to draw on that experience as you worked through the many different projects that we did. So what was your favorite part about the program?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there were so many highlights for me. I think the most exciting part about going through it was that I found a lot of ways to tie the coursework to my work, if that makes sense. So a lot of the projects that I was doing for work were very applicable, and I was able to tie the two together to benefit the organization. So like when I was taking the knowledge management course, a need arose for our enrollment department that needed a new approach to knowledge management. So I was able to step in and say, hey, I'm working on this course. Can I help you with that? And they were very accommodating and welcoming of the extra help. And so we got to create something really cool together. And I got to go through the whole process of doing the needs assessment and then prototyping and training them on how to use the prototype and showing them all the different ways that they are capable of using this tool. So that was probably the funnest part, the highlight for me.
That is so cool. And I know they appreciated that so much. So you were able to utilize so you weren't just doing stuff for school.
Right.
You were doing stuff that affected a much bigger picture, a larger scale, the whole organization, as well as counting for your school. That's very, very cool to be able to do that.
I found it so almost serendipitous that every time I'd start a new course, suddenly there's a project that needs to happen here at LAPU, and I can step in and be like, hey, that aligns really well with what I'm trying to show my competency in. Can I be part of this project? And then it worked out so beautifully.
That's amazing. So I know everybody here wants to see the awesome work that you've done. So can you show us?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the portfolio website that I've designed. And where is it? Here it is. All right. Are you able to see?
Yes, outstanding. And it reminds me of your style right off the jump, right off the start.
Yeah, one of the things that we had to design, I think it was for the 550 course, was a style guide. And so one thing that I made sure to do was to think about my personal brand. And so I've done freelance work for years and have worked on my personal brand over over the years. And so I was able to really put some good thought into how I wanted to present myself and then apply that style across my portfolio, across my different um, artifact submissions. It just became like a thread that found its way across all of my work. So this is my portfolio website. You can see the address there at the top. It's public. You can feel free to go take a peek at it if you are so interested. And I'll also be sure to share that in the information description on this video once it's posted. So this is my portfolio website. The purpose of this site is to showcase my instructional design skills and projects from the program. I did build this using Canva, and you can view it at callistadawsondesign.my.canva.site. There's lots of different.
And
Go ahead.
if I can plug our videos for a second,
Sure.
Calista made some amazing videos on all the AI use in Canva and Canva in general as well. So check out the DLS at YouTube, I think, something like that, something of that nature.
Yeah, on YouTube we are DLS dash LAPU. We'll share that.
We'll share it out. Okay.
I think I have it at the bottom of my portfolio actually, so we'll get there.
I find myself looking up your videos when I'm in Canva.
It is one of my favorite tools right now, so I'm happy to create content that helps people fall in love with it as well. All right. So I'll just scroll through this a little bit so you can see I've got my personal introduction, which we've already talked about that a little bit more of the about me. So I started in media and animation. I cultivated a love for storytelling through illustration and have been able to bring that into my career in higher education, which is...
Now, how have you found, if I can interrupt,
I'm
sorry,
of course,
this is very interesting. So you're in higher education, you have a background in media and animation, and you have your passion for storytelling.
Mhm.
Obviously I don't, because I can barely speak. But how do you see that storytelling and that passion for it affecting students in higher education as you make stuff for them?
Yeah.
How do you feel that translate?
One thing I've learned very early on is that as humans, we are just wired to learn through story. We are captivated by story. We are engaged by story. And so it's only natural that you would find a way to weave a story into the lesson you're trying to teach, because that's the way that it's going to resonate. It's going to be memorable, and they'll retain the concepts better if it's packaged in storytelling. So it was very easy to find that thread.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So for the ID skills section, I just did a high-level bullet point list of the things that I had coming into the program and then added to through going through the program. So learning experience design is really where my bread and butter is. Course design, motion graphics and animation, graphic design. I was able to grow in my facilitation skills through this program. Data analysis, I hadn't done a lot of that beforehand, so having a whole course dedicated to data analysis was really helpful. And assessment. Cool. And then the team and project management side of things, I love working in teams and collaborating. So this program really helped me to emphasize and grow in that area as well. Public speaking is something that has been a major area of growth in the last year or two. I'm really enjoying having the platform here at LAPU that we've grown, just getting to share about all of our love for learning. Knowledge management we talked about already, and leadership. And then this is a video that I included because we call it our what do we call it? Our highlight video? I don't know. It's the video on YouTube, our YouTube channel that's performing the best right now. So that's my star project.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch that, you can click on that. I put in a few more of my favorite media samples of videos that I've created over the years. These are all also on our Digital Learning Solutions YouTube channel. Accessibility mindfulness is special to my heart because it won an Omni Award, which was really cool. So
Is that a gold Omni Award there?
No, it was bronze. So
Bronze.
not gold, but still a winner in my
It's an
book.
Omni Award. That's a
It's an
big
Omni
deal.
Award. Yeah.
That's a really big deal. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the first artifact that I included here out of the many was the one for digital learning resources. I mentioned earlier the style guide we had to create. I will pull this up real quick. So as you can see, we had to come up with a logo, which I already had a logo, but I did refine it a little bit for this project. Defined a color palette, chose my branding fonts, settled on a graphic style and what the buttons would look like. And I was prompted to revise this to include layouts for like presentations and stuff. So I went ahead and added several options for presentation layouts as well that matched my branding. So that is that. Then the next one was for the learning experience. I created a little course on using AI in the higher ed classroom. And so the first version of it was missing some content that was pointed out to me in the feedback that I received, and just it needed to be chunked out a little bit better. And so in the revision, I made sure to add more sections and a little bit more assessment into it as well. So again, this is public. You can play with it if you feel so inclined. But we've got lots of different widgets in here, little short answer quizzes, and it goes through the legal and ethical considerations, the pros and cons of using it, and it really just leads people to think about the ways that they want to use it or not, the implications of what it means to use it or not, because there are implications for not using it. So just a good little course that gets you to think through that, since it's such
And I
a
notice it matches your style guide as well.
right.
To the T. Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of what I was mentioning before, is once I had settled into that, this is the style I'm going to use, thinking forward, like when I get to the end, when I get to the final capstone course, I'm going to have to show all of these pieces side by side. So they need to look like they belong in the same portfolio, that the same person designed all of it. And especially should I choose to be a freelance designer, like my personal style could be something that gets me my next job.
Ooh.
I know a lot of times in ID work, you end up having to work in specific branding for an organization that you're hired to work for. So being able to demonstrate your ability to stick to your own personal branding, it speaks to the fact that you know how to use branding.
So then if you could stick to your own, then you could stick to theirs, whoever's. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So it's always good to demonstrate your ability to use a branding Bible. Okay, the next one was learning experience management. And the first version of this project that I created was just a collection of Google Docs. I had not applied my style guide to it yet, because I think I did this course before the course where I defined my style guide. So once I had that, I went back and created a revised version of it that did have the style applied to it. So instead of Google Docs, it's now a well-designed PDF document. Or in this case, you can view it digitally on Canva. So it's got all the pages laid out with my branding, all the fonts follow my style guide, the layouts of the pages mimic the style of the presentation templates that I created. And it has that touch of femininity that I like to have in all of my work. So that's just a quick little example of that. And then we have the evaluation and analysis artifact. This one was, we had gathered a bunch of data from a trial that we did using Grammarly Go, which is an AI tool in our writing courses. George, you were very involved in that project as well, where we had a pilot And some courses had it, some courses didn't, and we were able to compare the difference in the effect that the AI tool access had on student outcomes. And so I had created a dashboard to showcase some of that data. And for the revision of that project, I added a few more dashboards that I had not originally included, just to show the breakdown of the GPA comparison. So I'll pull that up. And the
Oh, nice.
other cool thing about this artifact is that I was able to use Canva in a new way to make it function like an interactive e-learning course. So these navigation buttons actually work, and there's a little bit of animation and interactivity within the dashboard. So that's another cool feature that Canva has in it, where it's interactive. So,
and you know, can I bring up one thing? Because you mentioned in the beginning, I was involved with this project as well. And that kind of speaks to the program. You can use group stuff as long as you take credit for the parts that you do, right?
Right.
And that's kind of amazing to me. So many of us at work, it is a group project. You know, it's not too often is it just a singular project. So you don't have to be fearful or, I don't know, like what we do in resumes, over-exaggerate who we are, over-exaggerate our part and piece
we
within
don't need
that.
to inflate the work that we contribute.
Yeah, say, hey, I was a team member. This is what we did. These were my specific parts. And everybody knows that you had some influence on the other parts as well. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and to the earlier point as well, it demonstrates your ability to work collaboratively and as a member of a team.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to lead, cool. But if not, it's still a great skill set to have to be able to function well in a team setting.
Great point.
And I think this is the last one, the professional scholarship piece. We started working on a second research point. So the Grammarly Ghost study, George, you and Kenna did a research article on one of the aspects of that study. And then we started working on a second aspect where we were looking at the impact that the faculty has, or the instructor has, on the adoption of AI tools in the classroom. And so we had a lot of interesting outcomes, and it just became a question of how do we want to display that, I guess is the way I would say it. And George, you identified a journal that you want to submit to, and that journal needs more graphics, visual representation of the things that we did in this study. So the revision, my original artifact was just a written research article. So the revision for this one was to turn the methodology section into an infographic.
I love this. I personally love this because the methodology section can be
really
either boring or overwhelming.
Yeah. Either way, it's hard to read. Yes.
Yeah.
So I broke it down into sections and made it fun to read rather than just, a data dump.
You made me want to care. And that's a chore.
That's hard to do. All right. Well, that's all of the pieces that I included in this portfolio. Obviously, I have more projects, but these I thought highlighted some of the skills that I was most proud of. There's also a section in here about my personal reflection of going through the program. I invite you all to read it. But it was fun for me to sit back and reflect on my time in the program and all the skills that I was able to develop and grow in or acquire new ones. Like I hadn't really done an official needs assessment prior to taking the first course in this program. So it was really eye-opening. It's like I didn't realize I was doing needs assessments just in everyday life because it was never given that title.
Right.
So it was cool to see the overlap in the application outside of work even. I also have my resume on here should anyone be interested to know my whole history. And then lastly is the link to YouTube. That is our Digital Learning Solutions YouTube page. And then my LinkedIn. I'm very happy to connect with anyone who is interested in instructional design or just picking my brain or just connecting for whatever reason, I'm available on LinkedIn. So yeah.
Absolutely awesome. So what would you tell somebody who has, so you have a lot of experience coming into the program and you went through it at a fast pace.
Mhm.
What would you tell somebody who does not have much experience, maybe no experience in instructional design? They have life experience, but no instructional design experience. What would you tell them?
One thing that stood out to me going through this is that even though you may not have a background in education or learning design, you're doing a lot of these things in the work you're already doing. It just may not have been titled, like I said, needs assessment. If you've ever planned a vacation, you've done a needs assessment. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that's the example we use too,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And I would have never thought of it that way. But, I've got a family of 4 to get us all to the same place, and we all like that place. And I take into consideration all the things we each appreciate about a vacation and wrap it all in there together. Like that is a needs assessment in and of itself.
Right. Absolutely.
And if there are certain subjects in the program that you really just have no experience in, it's presented in a way where it's very manageable to go through the content. We use the LAPU method, which is something that we created, and it breaks it down into learning, application, practice, and utilization. So you get all of that content right up front. You can go through it at your own pace, and then you're given some challenges that will help you to apply what you've just learned. And it really does a great job of moving you towards competency. I don't know how to describe it better than that.
Oh, that's perfect because that's exactly what it does. It walks you through the different stages all the way to where you can utilize it in real life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know the other really key feature is having access to your faculty coach. So in this case, George was my primary faculty coach for the majority of the program. I did have a previous faculty coach, Callista, who was also amazing. And they're there to answer your questions and to encourage you and really just see what it is you need in order to keep moving forward, whether it's just a cheerleader or, to drag you along. Because I definitely had one course that I needed to be dragged a little bit. I was like, big surprise. I do not enjoy writing research papers. This is something I already do. And it is still true. Thankfully, I only had to do one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a program, you're not going to write a ton of research papers here.
That might have been the biggest selling point for me, because I always thought getting a master's degree was just writing for the sake of writing, and I had no interest in doing that. So having a program that's practical and applicable and demonstrative, like that was my language, like now we're talking.
Now we're in the game.
Yeah.
Now we're in the game. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing all the amazing work and the perspective that you gained throughout the program and throughout your previous experience as well. Any final words for the folks out there?
Oh, just if you have ever wanted to get a master's degree, like you can do it. A program like this makes it so much easier, and it just having a degree in instructional design is so applicable. It can help you in any career path, any industry. It's so versatile. So I highly recommend looking into instructional design as your next career move.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Callista. Appreciate all the hard work you put into this, and thank you for demonstrating it to everybody out there. If anyone would like to know more about the program, we'll put the link in the description. So you just click and you have a direct access to us all.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
All
And
right.
and our tagline, this is what learning feels like.